Hey guys, what's up? Um, we got a bit of news to talk about here. I'm sure everyone's heard, but we cut three big time players: Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, and Will Dissly. And I think the first thing that people are going to think about now, well, the first thing is thank God Jamal's gone because he's been a dead man walking for quite a bit of time. But the main thing people think about now is what's our cap space? And you can see Spotrac right here has it at 38.8 million. I don't know if that's exact, but I know it's around there. But these are the three moves which I really like. I don't love the Will Dissly move, but I mean, he was overpaid, so I'd get maybe if we cut him and try to bring him back on a cheaper deal. I think that might work. But yeah, he definitely wasn't worth what he was getting paid. So I understand it. Plus, he, had some injuries and just kind of slowed down. And that's fine. I hate to see Will Dissly go, but I think it's been time for a while. And Jamal, I am happy to see go. I am very happy. The problem is I don't understand not making him a post June 1st designation. That doesn't make any sense to me. Because I get it. We want to spend, the money now in free agency, and it's nice because now we won't have any Jamal Adams dead cap on our 2025 cap space, and that's great. But the way I look at it is, if we did a post June 1st designation, that gives us about $16 million. That's enough to sign all of our draft picks and pick up maybe someone like a roamer late in free agency, like a Mario Edwards or someone like that. And that gives us plenty of money to spend there. And also, if we did a post June 1st designation and had some money on our 2025 cap, I don't think that matters that much. Because the thing is, with how the league is going, I think cap space is going to go up every single year. And if the cap space goes up another $10-15 million next year, which might be a bit of a reach, but if it does go up that much next year, this wouldn't have mattered, I mean, right now, the dead cap that we're having to pay is basically the increase from last year's cap space to this year's. So it really doesn't help us out, and I'd rather just kind of push some of that dead cap into 2025 when the cap space is going to be even higher than it is now, so it won't really matter. So I don't get that. It's nice we saved $9 million, and we don't have to worry about Jamal for 2025. I just don't know if that was the smartest move. And Quandre Diggs, I think he was getting paid too much. I like him a lot. He did a lot for us, but overall he was getting paid too much, and he had to go. So I like that. But I'm going to talk about now replacements in both free agency and the draft, because I do think that's more fun to talk about, because we could talk about cap space all day long, but I think the most fun thing to think about is who's going to be on this roster in 2024. So let's look over to free agents here. And I do have a couple guys that I want to note. Let's look at safety first, right? So, I don't want to look at, I just want to go to NFL. I don't want to look at strictly Seattle here. All teams. There we go. All right. I do have a couple guys I want to note. Guys like Buda Baker, and even maybe Kevin Byard are, I think, a little too expensive for us. And while it would be cool, I wouldn't love it, because I just think that's money that could be spent elsewhere, because safety is kind of an undervalued position now in the NFL. But I do want to highlight some guys, Xavier McKinney being, I think, my favorite one on the market right now. The Giants announced today that they won't franchise tag him, and it's already too late because you can't franchise tag anymore. So Xavier McKinney is officially a free agent, and I think that'd be really, really good. I mean, we have had a lot of success in Seattle stealing people from the Giants. Not so much the Jets, but with the Giants, absolutely. And reuniting Julian Love and Xavier McKinney, I am all for that. Now the thing is Julian Love going to slot into that free safety role or that strong safety role? Because he can kind of do both. I think we might lean towards having him in a strong safety role and just kind of sitting in the box there. So in that case, Xavier McKinney might not be necessary to have, but I really do like this guy, and he's young. He's not even 25 yet. So if we bring him in on like a 3-year deal, I think that would be really, really cool. But, who knows? A guy a lot of people are talking about is Geno Stone because he was in that Mike McDonald defense, and he's also not even 25. And Geno Stone would definitely be a cheaper option as opposed to Xavier McKinney. And we do know that he works in a Mike McDonald defense. My concern with Geno Stone is that we don't really know how he's going to play. Like, we don't know his longevity in this league because he really only had 1 year this past year where he was really good. Before that, he didn't really do anything. Before that, he was just kind of a depth piece. And then this year, he came in and had a really good year, but we don't know if he's going to be able to repeat that success. I mean, we got Jamal Adams and immediately extended him because we saw the way he played the previous year, and then he got injured and never played the same. So Geno Stone is obviously going to cost a lot less than Jamal Adams did, but I don't know if he's going to come in here and have that same level of production as he did in Baltimore. I'd like it. I think it would be a good move, and I'd be happy about it because it would be relatively cheap, but I do have my concerns. And then another guy I want to talk. I have seen a couple people talk about Ryan Neal. Thing is, I just think he's a bit older, and I don't know if he's just kind of slowed down a lot the past couple years, and I just don't know if that's the best move for us. Another guy I want to talk about, who I really like, is Jordan Whitehead. He's a free agent, and he is 27, so he's a bit older, but not old enough to the point where you have to worry about him slowing down. You could argue that these years are his prime, and like I said before, we don't have a lot of success stealing players from the Jets, but I really like Jordan Whitehead. I think he was a bit underutilized in New York, and I think if we bring him over here, I think Mike McDonald could really find something for him to do in this defense. Whether it's just a rotation piece, I think if we have Jordan Whitehead on that sitting in the box, and then we just have Julian Love kind of rotating in, and then we could have kind of a third guy that we get from the draft, whether it's a Kalen Bullock or a Bo Braid, Cole Bishop, just someone like that. I do really like Malik Mustafa in day 3. I think he's a really good pick, and he just feels like a Seahawk. So I do really like him. But overall, those are my top 3 guys, would be Jordan Whitehead, Xavier McKinney, and then definitely at 3 would be Geno Stone, because I just don't know how he's going to translate. Now let's look over to tight end to replace Dissly, because here's the thing. We don't have a single tight end on our roster right now because Noah Fant and Kobe Parkinson are free agents, and then we cut Dissly. So there's not a lot there's not a lot of options for us. I really hope we re-sign Noah Fant with the money we saved. I hope we can re-sign Noah Fant. and Kobe Parkinson, honestly, and then just draft a rookie. I think that's our best bet, is to re-sign Parkinson, Fant, and draft a rookie. I think that's what we need to do, but I'm not the GM, so I have no control over that. So we're going to talk about some other guys here. First guy I'm going to talk about is Gerald Everett. He spent a year in Seattle, and he did pretty good. I mean, he had that one game where he had a lot of yikes. But overall, he did all right, and he is almost 30. He will be 30 when the season starts. But I think he's a pretty solid player, and you could get him for cheap. I don't know if he'd be asking for much more than veteran minimum. So I think you could get him for relatively cheap, maybe $2 million on a 1-year deal, and I think he'd accept that, because I think he is going to be one of these guys that's just kind of looking for just 1 or 2 more years in the league, just to kind of hang around, play the sport that he loves. Because I don't think his production level is not really ideal, but as a nice second string guy to maybe back up a rookie, I think he would be a good guy to have in here. I was also talking about CJ Uzomah, who was just released by the Jets today. He is older, and he didn't really do anything on the Jets, but I just remember his couple games stretch when the Bengals went on that Super Bowl run, and he was really good. And I think he'll be looking for something like vet min, because he's, again, older, he's not really productive, and I think he just wants to stick around the league for maybe a year or two. So if we could bring him in on a 1-year deal, I think that'll look really good on this roster. Just to have him here as a guy to kind of just fit in that tight end room around a couple younger guys, maybe some rookies. I think that would look good. Another guy that I like, the main guy I talk about when it comes to free agent tight ends is Dalton Schultz, but he just got re-signed by the Texans on a 3-year deal, so we're not going to get him. But the last guy that I'm going to talk about is Mike Gesicki. I do like him, another older guy. So the tight ends I'm talking about here aren't long-term options, but there aren't really any young tight ends in free agency. The youngest free agent tight end here is Noah Fant, and we need to bring him back. But Mike Gesicki, I think, could be a cheap option, not as cheap as Everett and Uzomah. But I do like his production in Miami. He didn't really do anything in New England, but I do like his production in Miami. I think he could come in, be another guy, even on a 2-year deal. I think you could get Mike Gesicki on a 2-year deal, and that would be fine. Maybe 2-year, $5 million, something like that. 2-year, $6 million is probably more likely for him. I think he would demand somewhere around $3 million per year, just because he didn't have as productive of a 2023 season as he was hoping. But I think bringing in a guy like Mike Gesicki could be really good. I think he is. I think the betting odds are for Mike Gesicki are Seattle is in like the top 3 landing spots for Mike Gesicki. I do think he's a good fit. The thing is, in this Ryan Grubb offense, tight ends aren't really utilized that much. Not as much as we've been utilizing them the past few years. So we don't really need these big bruiser tight ends. We just kind of need guys to come in, do a bit of blocking, some third down threats, and that's all we really need from them. So if we get a guy like Mike Gesicki or a Gerald Everett, just kind of a third down target, and then we pick someone up in the draft and maybe a second guy as a UDFA, maybe like a Jack Westover, I think that would work out really well. And yeah, that's it, guys. My top free agent tight ends: Mike Gesicki, Gerald Everett, C.J. Uzama on cheap 1-2 year deals. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and take care, y'all.